This afternoon, NBC Sports and TBS present the best in college basketball on the Big Ten Conference Game of the Week. Featuring the Spartans of Michigan State versus the Indiana Hoosiers. Brought to you by Natural Light Beer. The difference is what we put in and don't put in. By Ford and your Ford dealers who bring you the better idea of cars and trucks for the 80s. And by Gillette Track Tube. To guys who use the twin blade Gillette Track Tube, no other blade will do.
Fans have jammed Assembly Hall at Indiana University at Assembly Hall here for today's Big Ten game between the Indiana Hoosiers and the defending national champion Michigan State Spartans. Hello everybody, I'm Merle Hartman to call the play-by-play and to analyze the action, Coach Fred Taylor. And Fred, I missed you last week, and I personally want to thank Larry Osterman for sitting in with us.
Hey, we did a job, Merle.
Oh, yes sir. Well, Fred, today, of course, we got two teams that are rebuilding. One had to, not really wanting to, but lost one by graduation, another to the pros, and Indiana lost a couple of guys by injury, so it's rebuilding time.
I'll say it is. Indiana is hurting greatly. You know, Mike Woodson, the leading scorer for Indiana, and I think kind of lost in the fact is Randy Whitman, who logged more playing time than anybody in Indiana's history, and he's not here.
Well, of course, Michigan State now has to look to a new man to lead the scoring.
Well, Jay Vincent, big fella, he's averaging 23 points a game, but they might have to get more than that from him, and I guarantee you they're going to need more rebounding.
On the other side of the coin, we cannot dismiss the importance of Ray Tolbert, the big center for Indiana. But now much of the load, because of the loss of Woodson, will fall on the freshman.
Isaiah Thomas did a magnificent job down in San Juan last summer in the Pan American Games. Heat is on him, no question about it. And he may play inside, he may play outside. And Merle, I think you're going to like the way he plays.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. I hope you are too, because it's Big Ten basketball time this afternoon, and we'll be back with the lineups right after these messages.
Okay, men, when we see the ambassador's Mercedes, we roll.
The surprisingly affordable Granada, sometimes mistaken for a Mercedes.
There he is. Roll.
Albert, are you speeding?
No, dear.
People in Washington sure are friendly.
I think they like our new Granada.
Are you sure this is the way to the Applebound's new house?
I hope so.
Oh, look, Albert. They bought a Colonial.
The 1980 Ford Granada, a modern American classic.
You know, words are confusing. In bowling, a strike is good. In baseball, it's terrible.
That's right.
Take the word natural as in natural light beer. It means just one thing. This brew is beer with nothing artificial. It has only natural ingredients with lots of barley malt for a fuller taste and a less filling beer.
You better believe it.
Taste Natural Light. The difference is what we put in and don't put in.
Sure, Natural Light tastes great, and you can open the top without disremembering the can.
That's Coach Johnson. He's from the college. Looks like he's worried about his problem dandruff. I wish he'd ask me.
Mr. Owens, I need a shampoo.
Ever tried Tegrin?
Can it really work on my itching and flaking?
Well, in a national survey, 3 out of 4 dermatologists judged Tegrin's medication effective in fighting even problem dandruff.
I'll give it a tryout.
Hey, how's that dandruff problem?
Tegrin's a winner, Mr. Owens.
Prove it to yourself. Tegrin works.
Right now, without changing razors or blades, I'll bet you can shave closer. Baloney! Come on.
No way.
Just change from foam to Edge. Try foam on one side, new improved Edge on the other. Edge is a gel that lubricates better than foam. New, wetter, denser lather lubricates to let you really shave close. Well, convinced? Edge is closer. Yeah, closer with Edge.
It is closer than foam.
Edge tests show most men agree. Edge lets you shave closer than foam. Closer than foam? You bet.
Michigan State against Indiana at Assembly Hall in Bloomington. Michigan State is 6-6 for the year, but 0-3 in the Big Ten. Indiana's won 8, lost 4, and won its first game of the Big Ten Thursday night, an overtime victory right here on this floor against the Michigan Wolverines. Indiana is now 1-2. Remember, Michigan State last year was a tri-champion of the Big Ten, losing 5 games and then going on to win the national championship. A co-title held by Michigan State, Purdue, and Iowa. And then, of course, 2 years ago, Michigan State had the Big Ten crown outright. Indiana picked as the #1 team of the nation in some preseason polls. We've talked about the injuries that they have suffered, and Bobby Knight had to rebuild his team last year during the season, Fred, which he did. And, of course, we know what happened.
Right. And he's gonna do the same thing this year.
And now the starting lineups. The starting lineups for today's game. At forward for Michigan State, number 15, a 6'8 senior from St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, Ron Charles. For Indiana at forward, number 54, a 6'8 freshman from Washington, Indiana, Steve Bushey. For Michigan State at forward, number 35, a 6'7 sophomore from Detroit, Rob Gonzalez. At forward for Indiana, number 32, a 6'10 sophomore from Indianapolis, Landon Turner. At center for Michigan State, number 31, a 6'8 junior from Lansing, Jay Vincent. At center for Indiana, number 45, a 6'9 junior from Anderson, Ray Tolbert. At guard for Michigan State, number 5, a 6'1 sophomore from Birmingham, Michigan, Kevin Smith. For Indiana at guard, number 11, a 6'1 freshman from Chicago, Isaiah Thomas. For Michigan State at guard, number 11, a 6'2 senior from St. Louis, Terry Donnelly. At guard for Indiana, number 41, a 6'5 sophomore from Middletown, Ohio, Butch Carter. The head coach of Michigan State, Judd Heathcote. And the head coach of Indiana, Bob Knight. And we'll be back with the start of today's game right after these messages.
Right Guard knows that in equally active situations, men and women don't perspire equally. Men perspire more. That's why men count on Right Guard. Right Guard is so strong, so effective, it helps stop a man's perspiration odor all day long. Yes, men and women don't perspire equally. And that's why men count on Right Guard. Strong, effective Right Guard. Because men perspire more.
Hey, you're sold out of Gillette Track 2.
Delivery's coming any second. But why should a busy man like you have to wait when this razor will do?
Gillette Track 2 shaves me closer and smoother than that. I'll wait.
Life is too short to wait. These will fit your Track 2 handle.
I know what I'm getting with Track 2 twin blades, but those, I'll wait. For Gillette Track 2.
To guys who use Gillette Track 2, no other blade will do.
Track 2? We'll wait.
The referee for today's game is Bob Burson. His associates are Gil Haggart and Fred Jaspers. And it's basketball time again on TBS and NBC. Here's the starting five for Michigan State. Charles, Gonzalez, Vincent up front, Donnelly and Smith on the back line. Indiana starting five, and Michigan State controls the tip. That's Jay Vincent. And the shot partially blocked and rejected. Vincent comes up with the ball, however. He is number 31. Number 5 is Kevin Smith. And Smith starts the drive and is picked off on the way in. Foul is on number 45, Ray Tolbert. And the big guy's got one already, Fred.
He's going to have to do a lot of work inside.
Vincent to inbound. That's Ron Charles, number 15. Terry Donnelly, the senior from St. Louis. Fred, we were talking about how these teams would play defensively today, that both would rely more heavily on defense, with Michigan State losing two big stars of a year ago and Indiana being hurt by the injuries.
Right, neither team shoots the ball up a lot. They're fairly patient with the ball. There's a good defensive play by Isaiah Thomas.
Michigan State will play it in. 35, Rob Gonzalez. sophomore out of Detroit's Catholic Central. And out of bounds, it will be Indiana's ball. So the Hoosiers force the turnover, and here they come on offense, going the other way for the first time. 41, Butch Carter. Number 11, Isaiah Thomas, the fabulous freshman from Chicago on the back line. 54 is Steve Bushy. Turner, 32. Tolbert, 45.
There's Michigan State opening in the zone.
Butch Carter connecting for Indiana, averaging 6.4 per ball game. This is Kevin Smith going to Vincent. Traveling, second turnover for Michigan State.
Well, at the start of the game, it appeared that Jay Vincent was going to post low and really put the pressure on Ray Tolbert, but that time he was way out on the floor.
Michigan State has beaten Indiana 4 straight times, including a 3-0 record last year. A steal by Terry Donnelly. Thomas blocked it. What a play by Isaiah Thomas, the freshman. And Judd Heathcote is off the bench and saying, hey, foul.
Here's the drive. Terry Donnelly deflects the pass, takes off up the floor. Watch Thomas come in from the top of your screen. Gets the ball cleanly.
And back at the other end, a shot by Tolbert misses, and Michigan State comes up with the basketball. Smith to Donnelly from about 20. And a good rebound by Bushy, the freshman from Washington, Indiana, on the front end of the fast break. Number 41, Butch Carter, with the pass is overthrown.
Well, you know, last year, that shot Terry Donnelly took, he made. And he's an excellent shooter, but the ball just hasn't fallen for him this year. He's way down to 35% from the field.
We've played 2 minutes, and Indiana leads by a score of 2-0. Kevin Smith from Birmingham, Michigan, a sophomore. Looking inside for Charles. Smith winds up with the ball. Now he's got Charles, and Charles is fouled by number 32, Landon Turner. That's the second foul against Indiana. So Landon Turner, in a starting role today, commits a foul.
There's a lob pass to Charles. The ball was deflected a little bit. Couldn't handle it cleanly. Up again, now over to Charles. Up, and there's the foul from behind by Landon Turner.
Ron Charles, who's averaged almost 16 points a game, is on the line for Michigan State. The senior from St. Croix, the Virgin Islands. And Michigan State's on the scoreboard. Coach Judd Heathcote was coaching in the Pan American Games one year, and he saw this young man and recruited him for the Spartans. And it's all tied at 2. Now Michigan State will put a little pressure on in the backcourt. Thomas clears it down to Tolbert. And Butch Carter has all 4 now for Indiana, and the Hoosiers are on top 4-2. 2.5 minutes gone in the game. Donnelly. Vincent. And it won't go for him, and we've got some contact under the basket. Finger is pointed at number 41, I believe, Butch Carter. So Butch Carter picks up the 3rd foul for the Hoosiers, and Bates will come into the game now. Steve Bates, number 52, a sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana, checks in for Michigan State. And coming to the bench is Jay Vincent. Gonzalez wheels it into Donnelly. Score tied at 2, or I beg your pardon, Indiana leading 4-2. Carter has all 4 points for the Hoosiers. Donnelly against Carter. And a foul is on Carter, and that's 2, and 4 against Indiana. You know, we're talking about hand checking and close calls, Fred. Close calling this year by the officials.
Well, we're supposed to do it, and it's fine if they keep it up and do it consistently throughout the ball game. I think one of the things that coaches have been complaining about is that they start that way, then let it get a little bit worse.
Kevin Smith gets double teamed at the keyhole and lays it off for Donnelly, who misses the open shot. And traveling is called. And Ray Tolbert is a mite upset, and so is Bobby Knight. Just a little bit. Michigan State under the Spartan basket. That's Smith. And Bates missing. Cleared out by Butch Carter, and a foul on Bates. That's the first foul against Michigan State.
And Michigan State right now is getting too many extra attempts at the basketball.
Jay Finson is ready to check back in for the Spartans, and does. It's 4-2 Indiana in the early going here in Bloomington. Merle Herman and Fred Taylor with you, and again our thanks to Larry Osterman for sitting in with us last week while we were up at Lake Placid up high in the mountains. Isaiah Thomas, Bushi, Indiana playing with 2 freshmen, and they are good ones. And you're looking at them right now as Michigan State in a zone. Tolbert at the baseline has Turner. Hoosiers lead 6-2.
Just an excellent feed, good strength with the basketball, and a good pass off.
Kevin Smith throws one from out of sight, and the scramble is on the floor. Indiana brings it out, and Tolbert has the ball.
Well, that kind of activity and then a tall hand checking just doesn't make sense.
Tolbert posting and wheels it to Carter left side. Left side overloaded. They come back to Bushi against that zone. 6-2 Hoosiers. 16 minutes to go in the first half in Bloomington. Landon Turner. Carter has Bushi off on the right side. Back to Carter, cross-courting it. Now to the corner he goes. Short of the mark, and look at Turner on the foul. Landon Turner with 4 now. Turner's average 7.5. He didn't play Thursday night.
No, he warmed the bench Thursday night, but he looks like he wants to stay in the lineup with that kind of effort. The ball was tipped momentarily.
So Turner warms the hoop with 4 points. Indiana on top by 6. Traveling is the call. A turnover by Kevin Smith, number 5. And with 15 minutes and 25 seconds to go, we've got a timeout. Indiana leading by 6.
People always say you talk funny, but when you talk about Natural Light beer, you make sense. To all my fans at Fanny's, I thank you. Natural Light does have a taste all its own, because there's nothing artificial in this beer. Just the finest natural ingredients, including lots of barley malt, for a fuller taste and a less filling beer. Look at it.
Taste Natural Light. The difference is what we put in and don't put in.
This is no laboratory light beer. This is Natural Light.
Typing will never be the same again. Introducing the new IBM Electronic 75 typewriter. It really works for you. Automatically it underlines and centers. Its memory stores 7,500 characters. Want to change a sentence right in the middle? You type the change. The new IBM Electronic 75 typewriter. And if you make a mistake, this typewriter erases it.
A salesman, a bartender, and a cabbie. They worked hard all their lives. And what did they get? They didn't get rich.
How's about we all go on a stick-up?
When you've got nothing, you've got nothing to lose. George Burns, Art Carney, and Lee Strasberg in
You've got to be kidding.
Going in Style, a comedy to steal your heart. Rated PG. Now playing. Please check newspapers for local listing.
Well, here in Bloomington, the Spartans have been shut out from the floor, Fred.
Well, 0 for 7 from the floor, and really haven't had but about 2 decent shots out of that bunch. They forced a few up. See how Indiana works against this zone again. Now they're spreading it out a little bit more.
Bushi handling, goes cross-court to Butch Carter and down on the lane to Turner, but he misses it, and Charles pulls out the rebound for the Spartans. Indiana's out-rebounded Michigan State now 7-3. Kevin Smith hits the baseline, and Isaiah Thomas is right there with him. Bates, as Tolbert hit the deck. Gonzalez comes to the outside, and Michigan State will start all over. Number 5 is Kevin Smith from Birmingham, Michigan, a sophomore. Gonzalez posting high. Gonzalez works the baseline, gets the shot up, but he is fouled, and this one's on Bushi. Number 54. And that's 5 team fouls now against Indiana.
Well, Merle, as you suggested, Rob Gonzalez is up high. Michigan State has changed its offense in this period. They've got him up high, and they're trying to post the 2 big men low. Ron Charles and Steve Bates.
Rob Gonzalez, a 6'7" sophomore from Catholic Central in Detroit, and 3 free throws have accounted for all of the Michigan State scoring here in the early minutes. About 5.5 minutes gone. And he's got them both. 8-4. Carter. 3-2 zone set for Michigan State. Isaiah Thomas, a fantastic freshman, off to Carter, and Carter's got it. And he has 6 of the 10 points for the Hoosiers. 14 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the first half on our Big Ten Game of the Week from Bloomington on NBC in association with TBS. This is Bates. Bushi has him. Gonzalez and Turner is working on him. Cross courts it to Kevin Smith. And the ball tipped by Isaiah Thomas and back over the back line, and Bates couldn't handle it. Back over the midcourt line, and the ball goes to Indiana.
There's the drive across the middle. The ball's deflected again by Isaiah Thomas. Now watch him come after, and there it is over and back. Merle, I've never seen a young player as good as Isaiah Thomas is at knowing when to go after the ball and when not to.
He's got the magic hands. He kind of reminds me of Quinn Buckner. He has better quickness than Buckner, but just knowing where that ball is. And that's Thomas, and look at that move by the freshman. And he is fouled by number 52, Steve Bates, and that's his second foul, and the second team foul against the Spartans. And that brings Judd Heathcote up off the bench.
There's a drive, puts it on the deck, up, tries to slide underneath and then put it over. But Bates moved his left leg over in front, and the foul was called on him.
Thomas has averaged 13 points a game for Indiana. He was one of the most sought-after players in the country. In fact, many considered him the best point guard in high school last year.
Well, old folks aren't supposed to say anything, but I swear I've never seen a better high school senior than he is.
Or was.
Or was.
Jay Vincent is checking back in for Michigan State, and Rob Gonzalez will go to the bench for the Spartans. Isaiah Thomas was an All-Stater in Illinois, an All-American, member of the Pan Am team, had 21 points and 4 assists in the title game against Puerto Rico. He is 1 out of 2, and that's the score, 11-4 Indiana. Mike Berkovich, 12, is now in the ball game. Overthrowing Bates, but Kevin Donnelly is right there. This is Berkovich, who started some games. Ball deflected by Thomas, and a foul on Thomas. And again, look at the quickness of Isaiah Thomas.
He made a good move in there to deflect the ball, but he also got a piece of the arm.
That's 16 fouls now against Indiana.
Well, I think Berkovich is in the ball game to try to get some outside shooting. He's a good outside shooter, and he played on the Canadian team in the Pan American Games.
And Fred Taylor was there as a coach, along with Bobby Knight, the head coach of Indiana, who coached the U.S. team. And we've got a foul logged on number 32, Landon Turner. That'll be his second. And again, you got to watch the hands.
Well, he was fronting him and was trying to hold him from coming up to the ball with the hands.
And so Jay Vincent will be up on the line. Jay Vincent, the junior from Lansing Eastern. And that's his first point, and 5 points on the board for Michigan State, all free throws. You know, Jay Vincent's got to feel kind of lonely, though, without Magic and Greg Kelser.
Well, you can learn to love to play with people like that.
So Michigan State continues to score on the free throw line, trailing by 5 now at 11-6 with 13 minutes to go in the first half. Isaiah Thomas, and Berkovich has him. Butch Carter. Thomas against the zone. They cross-courted. Tolbert. They're looking for Tolbert. That's Bushi. There's Tolbert, but he's in heavy traffic and gets the shot up and in. So Tolbert connects for the first time. He's averaged 11 per game this year for Indiana. The Hoosiers lead by 7. 12.5 minutes to go in the first half. Berkovich to Donnelly. Vincent. And Vincent on a turnaround. That's the first field goal for Michigan State, and it takes 7.5 minutes to get it.
Vincent made a good move to get the ball. He came across the line. He set up Tolbert good with a good change of direction move. Came across the line toward the ball. Good pass, good basket.
Bushi. And Bushi rejects a shot as Vincent got a hand up there. Turner lets her fly off the baseline, and it's pulled down by Berkovich. Fast break Donnelly down the left lane for the outside shot, and Terry's got it. So, 4 points in a hurry on a couple of field goals as Michigan State cuts the lead to 3. Michigan State riding a 2-3 zone. Tolbert out of the key, and will the basket count or not? Vincent is called for a foul. I don't believe there will be a basket.
Here's the pass. Tolbert sets up to shoot. Ball's on the rim, but we didn't see it. The foul occurred on Vincent out of our screen.
And it also occurred before the bucket. 13-10 Indiana.
RCA wants you to see the right color. Does your television automatically capture all the subtle shades of difference between this surfer in deep blue, this blue surfboard, and the blue Hawaiian surf? If not, wait till you see color, even color this close on ColorTrack 1980. ColorTrack 1980, with 8 automatic color systems designed to lock even subtle shades of color on track. RCA is making television better and better.
I'm a mileage nut. I checked all the figures, and I got a Ford Fairmont. Yeah, 4-cylinder mileage is even higher than last year's. And do they have a 6-cylinder? With standard 4-speed transmission, no 6, foreign or domestic, beats Fairmont's estimated MPG. Datsun's 4-speed doesn't beat it. Toyota doesn't beat it. Citation, the GMX cars don't beat it.
Harold!
Aren't you glad you bought a Fairmont?
You bet your gas can.
The right idea for today.
Take this man into custody.
Protecting their source puts the chips behind bars. Ben BJ's got a girlfriend with a gold mine, and they're all in danger. I'm scared. Saturday.
We've got a great lineup tomorrow at NBC Sports. Starting at 1 o'clock Eastern, the 5th-ranked Orangemen of Syracuse clash with 9th-ranked Purdue's Boilermakers in a national telecast. And Dick Enberg, Billy Packer, and Al McGuire will be there to bring it to you. In fact, I imagine they're watching this afternoon. Dick has come in from his beautiful mountain retreat in rain-soaked Southern California. Vincent on the rebound. Clears it out to Berkovich. Charles, the alley-oop, but he did not take the shot, and Bushi comes up with the ball, and the Hoosiers go the other way. Wasn't quite high enough for the alley-oop slam dunk. 13-10 Indiana. Working inside to Tolbert. Tolbert on a follow. So Ray Tolbert with 4 now, and Indiana goes up by 5.
Well, he stayed after his own shot. One of the prettiest plays in basketball for a big man.
Ron Charles. That's Bates. Berkovich. Vincent working against Bushi. Shot knocked away by Tolbert. Bates comes up for the ball, but he travels. Tolbert is playing it at both ends now. That's 5 turnovers by Michigan State. And Rob Gonzalez comes back in for the Spartans, number 35, and going to the bench is Jay Vincent. So Vincent being rested periodically here in the first half with 10 minutes and 30 seconds left to play. 15-10 Indiana, and the Hoosiers with the ball. Charles misses a steal. Bushi. And that zone of Michigan State is a tough one to crack as Tolbert drives and misses, and Bushi gets the rebound and loses it. Gonzalez comes up. Almost had a lead pass going to Berkovich, but now Michigan State will play it their own way. Berkovich hits the key, missing badly. His field goal percentage is way down this year, and Judd Heathcote is trying to figure out why.
Well, they're only about 2 for 10 for the ball game here today.
15-10 Indiana, 9:58 left in the first half. Ball partially deflected by Charles and finally jammed back in.
Michigan State's getting a little bit more aggressive in their zone, too.
So it's 17-10. Gonzalez.
That was Landon Turner who crammed that one in, Merle.
And he's got 6 now. Donnelly off the lane. And Donnelly starts to hit from the outside. 17-12, Indiana.
Well, he's 95-7 from the free throw line this year, so you know he can shoot the ball.
Jay Vincent will be back in shortly for Michigan State. Bushi, the freshman, who was Mr. Basketball in Indiana. So, all right, the ball tipped by Michigan State. Bushi. Isaiah Thomas and Butch Carter from the outside. So Carter has 8 against the zone, and it's 19-12 Hoosiers.
Well, Indiana's trying to move the zone down one side of the floor, then reversing the court either by going around the horn or across the top. Good poise with the ball.
Berkovich. Rob Gonzalez on the outside, and Donnelly from about 18 feet, and he's over the top of the rim, and it goes out of bounds with the Indiana's ball. Jay Vincent is coming in, and also coming in for the first time today is Kurt James, number 30 for Michigan State. James is a junior out of Pontiac. 19-12 Indiana. Indiana with a slow start last year as Bobby Knight had some roster changes early and had to rebuild. And Bushi misses the tip in. Michigan State comes down with the ball. As we mentioned earlier, this year he is rebuilding during the season because of injuries. His All-American Mike Woodson is out, no doubt, for the season. He had back surgery. And my goodness, you take a Mike Woodson off anybody's team and you become maybe a good team in place of a great team. This time Berkovich comes up with a specialty, the outside shot. He's averaged a little over 10 a game this year. Indiana on top by 5 with 7:40 to go in the first half. Bobby Knight standing pat here in the first half. Isaiah Thomas runs into the Valley of the Giants. This is Butch Carter bringing it back to the top. Bushi, his first shot of the lead. Bushi has not been able to get open.
He started shooting well on Thursday night against Michigan. He was 10 for 12.
And now Judd Heathcote takes a timeout with 7:16 to go in the first half. Indiana's on top, 21-14. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Janet Guthrie. If you're like me, you want engine protection up front.
And you want fuel economy back here.
That's why you need Texaco's Haviland Supreme Motor Oil. In over 1 million miles of state trooper testing, it delivered proven engine protection. In fuel economy tests, it delivered unbeaten mileage. Trooper tested protection up front, backed by unbeaten mileage. That's Texaco's Haviland Supreme.
This Bud's for Stan Barrett and the entire Rocket team, who broke the speed of sound on wheels.
This Bud's for you. For all you do. King of beers is coming through.
Yeah, here's to you with that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
See exciting fourth-round coverage as golf's top pros, including defending champ John Mahaffey, try to take home the title of the prestigious Bob Hope Desert Classic, coming up next.
The Big Ten has become a dominant force in collegiate hockey the past several years. There are currently 4 Big Ten teams ranked among the top 10 squads in the nation. They include Michigan, the defending NCAA champion Minnesota, as well as Ohio State and Wisconsin. The preceding message was furnished by TBS on behalf of the Big Ten Conference. Michigan State shooting only 4 out of 15 from the field, while Indiana is an even 50%, 10 for 20. Vincent, Bates, ball deflected, but he traveled before. You saw Isaiah Thomas get those hands in there again. That's the 6th turnover now by Michigan State.
Right. He was right there waiting if he hadn't traveled. The ball was shaken loose.
Thomas is number 11. Boy, you talk about a guy that had a lot of interest last year in his senior year in Chicago. But he got a lot of mail. Turner traveled with the ball. That's the 4th turnover for Indiana. Saw him. He was going to go fake left, go right, and he lost the pivot foot.
I'll tell you, I think the pass came a little bit quicker than he thought. Isaiah Thomas really rifled that ball.
Remember Magic? When Magic joined Michigan State, it took a little while to get used to him, too, didn't it? That's Ron Charles off the baseline. That's his first field goal. He's got 4 points. That is 21-16 Indiana with 6.5 minutes to go in the first half.
Michigan State is really compressing the zone.
Turner, Colbert, ball taken away. That's the 5th turnover. Benson with the man responsible, and Ron Charles on the other end. And a whistle stops playing. We've got a foul called. Foul is on number 54, Steve Boucher. That'll be his 2nd. And on the line will be Ron Charles for a 1-and-1.
Merle, it appears that Michigan State has made more of an attempt to get into a fast-breaking situation on rebounds and out-of-bounds play. Not going to let Indiana set up in their man defense and do all the things they want to do.
It's 5 points now for Charles. Ron was a 6th man. You're looking at Donnelly. Terry is back in. He was out briefly. Charles was a 6th man last year after about the first half of the season. He switched with Berkovich, and he was great coming off the bench. But this year, Judd Heathrow has had to have him in the starting unit. 21-18 as Michigan State closes the gap. Indiana with the ball. Next Saturday afternoon will be in the Twin Cities. Look at the recovery by Isaiah Thomas.
Tell me, Ian, quick.
And how about this for quickness by Cotter? And Indiana scores 4 in a hurry. And now, all of a sudden, Indiana shoots to a 25-18 lead. And this sellout crowd of over 17,000 turns it loose. Another steal by Carter. 3-on-1 fast break. Carter leads it off to Thomas. Thomas' shot goes down and a foul is called. That's 6 quick points now for Indiana, and they'll have a free throw coming off the foul, but right now Michigan State calls a timeout. So Indiana runs 6 points in a hurry to build a 9-point lead with 5 minutes and 35 seconds left to go in the first half. And the Hoosiers are on fire right now. We'll be right back.
Foot odor. Get odor eaters. Odor eaters.
Odor Eaters. Billions of particles of activated charcoal blended into comfortable cushion-soft insoles. They absorb perspiration and destroy odor for 3 months.
I got the Odor Eaters, kid. Good boy, good boy.
Odor Eaters. Regular for street shoes, super tough for sport and work shoes.
Get Odor Eaters, Odor Eaters.
Wet, sticky roll-on antiperspirants. They hold you up when you want to get dressed. Get on the stick. Speed Stick solid deodorant from Menon gives you dry, effective protection against perspiration odor. Look, roll-ons go on wet. That's why they stick to your shirt. But Speed Stick is solid deodorant. Effective protection against odor, so dry that Speed Stick never sticks to your shirt. There's nothing watery, nothing wasted.
And I like that.
Try Speed Stick deodorant from Menon. Sports World is back. Watch as basketball's Clown Prince, Meadowlark Lemon, returns with a new team and old friends Will Chamberlain and Marcus Haynes on Sports World tomorrow.
Well, Indiana had a 3-point lead when all of a sudden the Hoosiers blitzed for 3 quick field goals to build a 27-18 lead, and they can make it 10 if Isaiah Thomas can connect on the free throw.
He and Butch Carter are the 2 people who got together to force the Michigan State turnovers, and that's 8 turnovers for Michigan State thus far.
Benson rebounds it out of there for the Spartans, who need a bucket the worst way to kind of break the momentum now the Hoosiers have built. Berkovich. Carter goes after him. That's Bates. Berkovich. Clock 5 minutes, 13 seconds to go in the first half. Right now, the Indiana defense is cutting off the lanes. This is Benson on his move, and he is fouled, but Tolbert, number 45. Ray Tolbert with his second personal. Judd Heathcote, who led the Spartans to the national championship last year in his third year as the head coach at Michigan State. They were the tri-champions with Iowa and Purdue, but the year before, Judd and his guys won it all and were defeated by Kentucky in a close one of the NCAA finals. Now Indiana will bring on number 30, Ted Kitchell, a 6'8" sophomore from Galveston, Indiana. That's the first substitute, I believe, for the Hoosiers.
Right.
Vincent now with 5.
Vincent made a pretty good move in there that time, Merle. He looked over his right shoulder, kind of leaned in, turned back and went to shoot over his left shoulder and was fouled and gets 2 free throws.
Vincent averaging better than 21 a game. We talked at the top of the show today about him having to pick up some of the slack left by Kulzer and the Magic Man as far as the offense is concerned. Kitchell couldn't handle it, and Butch Carter commits his 3rd foul. Carter, who has 12 of the 27 points, will sit down for a while, and he'll be replaced by Chuck Franz.
Here's Carter with the ball. Really kind of forces the pass. Kitchell wasn't open, was a little bit high, and then he compounds one error into 2 by going in and fouling. And that's his 3rd personal, as you say, Merle.
And on the line is Mike Berkovich. Mike became a starter in midseason. They called him the Golden Arm because of his outstanding shooting ability, but it has kind of deserted him this year for some reason. It's been a real mystery. 27-20, Indiana. 4 minutes, 37 seconds left of the first half. Michigan State had cut the Indiana lead to 3, only to be blitzed by the Hoosiers, and Tolbert adds to the lead, gets it back to 9 as he hits his 3rd field goal. At halftime, the Big Ten halftime report, we'll take a look at the highlights of the Thursday night games, talk about them, and show you taped highlights of the Illinois-Purdue game. Charles, shot rejected. This foul is called to number 30, Ted Kitchell of Indiana, and that'll be his 1st. Talking about Judd Heathcote, you know, Judd is very philosophical about his job this year, Fred, and I really appreciate that. I know, you know, he's been around a while. He didn't complain about losing Magic Johnson. He said, well, at least I had him for a couple of years.
Hey, you can tell jokes after you've won a national championship, and you've also been, 2 years as the champion or the co-champion in the Big Ten.
Not too bad.
No, sir.
Charles going for number 8.
Michigan State's going to have to do it to the line right now because they definitely are not shooting well from the field. They're clear down around 300% from the 30% from the field.
Only 10 of their 22 points have come from the field. 4 minutes to go. 29-22, Indiana. And what a recovery there by Chuck Brand, saving that ball.
You know, he's only played 24 minutes all year. You think he isn't fired up about playing?
This is Brand. Isaiah Thomas. Thomas, a freshman, quarterbacks the Hoosiers. Somebody in the lane too long, the 3-second violation. That's the 6th turnover for Indiana. Michigan State coming back now. The Spartans really need a win. They're 0-3 in the Big Ten. Berkovich out of the key, and again off the front of the rim. Thomas trying to get that fast break going, but Michigan State gets back, and Thomas goes for the shot and the follow, and he got it down over Charo. Isaiah Thomas.
He can flat play, just flat play.
31-22 Indiana.
There's his jumper. Rebound off the front of the rim, goes right back in and gets it with good body balance, lays it back in. Little finger roll.
Live action. The steal by Thomas. There are the quick hands. This time he's got a solo. He is putting on a show. Isaiah Thomas, the freshman. 33-22, biggest lead of the afternoon for Indiana. The Hoosiers won an overtime battle here Thursday night against Michigan. 8 shot, partially blocked. Tolbert pulls it down. Is Indiana ready to put it into the blitz? This is Thomas, top of the horn. Leaves it off to Kitchell. A steal down by Charles. 2-on-1 the other way. Thomas is the only man who can stop it. And Thomas fouls. That's his second. Phil Eisenbarger will come in now for Indiana.
Gets his pass across. It's deflected there by Ron Charles, who takes it on up the floor. Actually looked like he got a little extra step there. And I don't believe they would have called a foul had Isaiah not turned his back on the play.
Eisenbarger has come in. Ted Kitchell has gone out as Ron Charles steps up on the line. He had an 18-point, 14 rebound game against LSU in the Midwest Regionals last year. Well, I'll tell you, that was a great performance. Have to be there for that. You said, Fred, they need all the free throws they can get. But Charles misses for the second time. He's 6 out of 8. 33-23, a 10-point lead for Indiana. Earl Harmon and Fred Taylor with you. Glad to have you with us. Next week, we'll see the Golden Gophers of Minnesota against the Purdue Boilermakers, 1:30 Eastern Time on NBC in association with PBS. Michigan State battling Indiana defensively with that zone. They've stayed in it. We're nearing the 2-minute mark for the first half. That's Eisenbarger. And Turner off the baseline. Landon with 8. Landon Turner builds a 35-23 Indiana lead with 1:57 seconds to go in the first half. Charles, Berkovich, Benson on top. Tolbert fouls, reaching over, and that's 3 on Tolbert.
Pass in, Kern reaching right on the backside with his right arm. Ray Tolbert.
Halftime score, Georgia 31, LSU 26. Benson up on the line. Jay injured his right foot near the end of the season last year and missed most of the postseason tournament action. Boy, that's going to be heartbreaking too, as Michigan State went to the national championship. Benson is 5 straight on the line. 35-24 Hoosiers. He's still all right. 35-25, 1:43 to play.
It's a little tougher for France to throw the ball across the top of that zone because he's about 4 inches shorter than Butch Carter.
Isaiah Thomas, that's Eisenbarger. Franz. Clock running down to 1:19 to go in the first half. Turner off the baseline again. This time the air ball is grabbed by Benson. And it's a 3-on-2, but quickly Indiana's back on the defense. Benson at the baseline, wheels it into the Charles for a hook shot, and he got it. Beautiful play. 35-27 Indiana.
Good pass inside.
51 seconds to go in the first half. Coming in is Longacre. And going out is Kevin Smith. Mike Longacre, number 23, coming in. The ball will stay with Indiana. .36 seconds to go as Indiana will play for the shot, the shot. 35-27 with 30 seconds to go in the first half. Who will take the shot? 20 seconds left in the first half. Isaiah Thomas looks to the bench. What do we do now, Coach? You ready? 10 seconds to go in the first half. And Turner traveled with the ball. He mishandled the pass. He had started his move, and that is the 8th turnover for Indiana. And Bobby Knight got to be unhappy to lose that one.
Well, I think Landon Turner probably felt Chuck France was going to take the shot because he was so wide open, and that's the first time he's been open since he's been in the ball game.
Jim Thomas, number 20, replaces Isaiah Thomas for Indiana. Mike Berkovich comes in, and going out Mike Longacre. He was in there long enough for Berkovich to get to the bench and back just about. 7 seconds. Get Berkovich in there for the last shot, possibly. Smith wheels it. He's going all the way, and he tried to bank it high, and he missed it. And Vincent couldn't handle the rebound, and the first tap comes to an end. So the Indiana Hoosiers and the Michigan State Spartans, 35-27 at halftime, and we'll be right back.
Thunderbird. 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 Spread your wings in the new 1980 Thunderbird. Introducing a Thunderbird of new contemporary size that shows its elegant heritage wherever you look. Outside, inside. Yet it's remarkably priced, and that includes automatic transmission, power steering, power brakes, vinyl roof, and more. The new size Thunderbird, a better idea for the 80s.
Weekends were made for Michelob. Weekends were made for special friends. It's the time to have that smooth and mellow beer. It's Michelob.
Every weekend is really a little vacation at the end of the week. And doesn't that call for Michelob?
Weekends were made for Michelob. Yeah.
Usually, when a family comes to their State Farm agent for life insurance, we already know them pretty well. We usually work with them on other kinds of insurance, and we have a pretty good idea of the protection they'll need. We've helped them in the past. They feel real comfortable with us, and we're going to help them if they have a problem. They know us. They trust us. We're going to be here tomorrow.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's life insurance, the State Farm way.
We'll be back with the IBM College Basketball Report after these messages from your local station.
World premiere, Dr. Franken. He's a medical genius.
I see him only as a bank for organs.
Building a modern Frankenstein.
You did this to me.
Now he's escaped.
You've got me completely baffled.
Finding himself in love and the target of a killer.
I didn't expect for it to turn out this way.
Robert Vaughn and Terry Garr stars Sunday.
Hungry? Try a little Italian pizza or any of their great Italian dinners and sandwiches. See the yellow...
5 and 10. IBM College Basketball Report is brought to you by IBM Office Products Division.
Can your secretary go through your files this fast? Can your secretary type your letters this fast? Or send your mail this fast? Now your secretary can with the IBM Office System 6. It's that fast.
Well, here at halftime, there's the score. Indiana leading Michigan State by a score of 35-27. Merle Harmon and Fred Taylor with you. You know, we had some very interesting games Thursday night as this weekend's play opened up. And you look at the Thursday night action, Fred, we had started out with 2 overtime games.
Well, 5 points covers Indiana's 3 games. 2 road losses by 1 and 2 points, and then an overtime win against Michigan. Good scoring from Bushy and Tolbert. In fact, Tolbert made one of the finest offensive rebounds I've ever seen. Then up at Minnesota, Minnesota wins with Kevin McHale getting 27 points. A big win for them.
And, of course, a big win, too, for the Purdue Boilermakers playing at home against the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Purdue had a super season last year. The Fighting Illini playing at the Purdue floor, somewhat of a defensive struggle early, the ball going back and forth, and finally Keith Edmondson got the shot to go down for the Boilermakers. Number 42, Mark Smith, beats James Griffin, number 13 for Illinois, who slips by Joe Barry Carroll to score for the Illini. Joe Barry is number 22. He takes a pass from number 32, Kevin Stallings, and watch him go, slamming the ball right through the hoop, but he hung on to the rim. That was his second technical foul. Illinois led by 3 at the half. Purdue comes back in the second half with Arnett Hallman, 45, beating Joe Barry. Keith Edmondson, number 11. Watch him rebounding his own shot. Every coach loves that. The Boilermakers show some quick ball handling now. Joe Barry Carroll does the rest with this hook. Purdue took the lead and held it with a strong defense and a number of Illinois turnovers, and of course the talents of Mr. Carroll. Purdue 74, Illinois 66 was the final score in that one. And Ohio State beat Iowa?
Well, for the third consecutive game, Ohio State comes from behind in the second half. A burst of 15-4, outscoring Iowa, and that was the 74th consecutive game that Kelvin Ramsey's been in double figures.
And why does Michigan State have so much trouble at Northwestern?
Well, they did it last year. Northwestern came up with 4 people in double figures, and it's a big win, their first win in the conference.
Well, we talked about the Iowa victory, or rather the Ohio State victory at Iowa. That left the Buckeyes the number 1 spot in the standings.
Well, I'll tell you, we've had some fine games. We've had only 4 road winners, and I think that's significant. And then on the other hand, we've had 8 games decided by 4 or fewer points, and that just tells you how close the league is.
So we got a log jam for second. We have a log jam in the second division, so to speak, in the Big Ten, but it's very early. Other ball games being played today, and there's some very interesting ones. Up in the Twin Cities, Minnesota leading Illinois by a score of 36-34 at the half, and Wisconsin plays at Iowa.
Well, that's a must game for both ball clubs. Iowa has lost a couple of players to injuries. They have to do something about it. And of course, Wisconsin was 2-0, so they've got to get back.
And Michigan will try to salvage one game at this Indiana tour by beating Purdue this afternoon. And Ohio State plays at Northwestern tonight, and are the Wildcats ready to ambush the Buckeyes. We'll be back with more at halftime here in Bloomington right after this message.
Right Guard knows that in equally active situations, men and women don't perspire equally. Men perspire more. That's why men count on Right Guard. Right Guard is so strong, so effective, it helps stop a man's perspiration odor all day long. Yes, men and women don't perspire equally. And that's why men count on Right Guard. Strong, effective Right Guard. Because men perspire more.
Hi, I'm Jim Dutcher, head coach of the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. Watch us next week when we take on the Boilermakers from Purdue.
Jim, we're going to watch you in person. We'll be there to televise that game. Tip-off time at 1:30 Eastern Time right here on NBC. Now it's time to take a look at the scoring leaders in the Big Ten. A little early in the season, but I think we're starting to see some developments that are not surprising with Joe Barry Carroll, the leader.
When Joe Barry plays, people better listen because he's capable, very capable. Mike McGee is doing a much better job this year, much better in his shot selection. Jay Vincent, as we talked about, is doing a job for Michigan State. And Claude Gregory has always been a good scorer for Wisconsin. Kevin McHale, a big fellow who played down in Puerto Rico and at times did a great job down there, is in 5th place. Wes Matthews at Wisconsin, who won a couple of games for them last year with last-second heroics. And then Eddie Johnson and Vince Brookings are tied for 7th.
Well, the man who was named Player of the Week in the Big Ten was not a big scorer, but what a job Paul Hireman did for Michigan. Many of you probably saw the superb performance of this 6'8", 200-pounder that he turned in last week in our Big Ten Game of the Week against Iowa. Despite going against the Hawkeyes' 2 bigger centers, Hireman led all rebounders with 11 and scored 12 points as the Wolverines hung on to a 68-65 win over Iowa. It was for this stellar effort against the Hawkeyes that Michigan's Paul Hireman has been selected the Big Ten Player of the Week. Well, at halftime here in Bloomington, Indiana has a 35-27 lead over the Michigan State Spartans. You know, every week on NBC, we'll feature one of the Big Ten schools. Right now, let's take a look at Michigan State University.
Freedom of speech and human expression. Amen. Thank you.
I think in some cases it's okay to applaud a prayer.
The gift of speech. Most of us take it for granted. But for Jim Brooks, it is a gift of the computer age and research by Michigan State University scientists. The Artificial Language Laboratory at MSU is a pioneer in the use of computers to help people with severe communication handicaps.
Mounted on the back of Jim's wheelchair in this enclosure is this small single-board microcomputer and a Votrax voice synthesizer and printer. On his motorized wheelchair, Jim Brooks has a joystick that he uses his foot width to move around and to steer around in three-dimensional space. Here we have another kind of joystick that Jim uses to move around in language space. The devices that the Artificial Language Laboratory is creating and the technology that we're helping pioneer, along with centers throughout the world, allows individual human beings, sometimes for the first time in their life, to access language, to be able to speak using a talking computer, or be able to write or print out their thoughts when in the past they had no means of expressing their humanity. Some of these individuals have been paralyzed from birth, for instance with cerebral palsy. Others have had an accident and suffered brain damage. Some people have had strokes. And by whatever means a person has gotten to a state of not being able to speak or write, the technology that we're developing will help that person to re-establish or establish for the first time a linguistic link with the world.
We ask this in the name of the Lord. Amen.
Researchers at Michigan State University giving handicappers a voice.
They come out of nowhere. They come from everywhere. They challenge themselves. They challenge the world. They give their best to be the best. But they can't do it without your help, because America doesn't send athletes to the Olympics. Americans do. Send your contribution to the U.S. Olympic Committee, Box 1980N, Cathedral Station, Boston. For $10 or more, you'll receive the stylish Olympic belt buckle. This message sponsored by the U.S. Olympic Committee and NBC.
We'll return to college basketball after these messages from your local station.
Joe Don Baker in the world premiere of Power.
I'm building the strongest union in the world.
But others must pay for his success. Karen Black, his wife.
I just thought we were important to you, too.
Lorraine Stevens, his mistress. William Kirby Cullen, his son.
Who's that bed with you there? Grievance committee from the...
Joe Don Baker in Power, Monday.
Have dinner or lunch at Mr. Steer during his crazy days. Steak, ribs, crab legs at crazy low prices. Bring the family. 4 locations. Mr. Steer.
What did you use in the automatic drip coffee maker?
Folgers Flake coffee.
Delicious.
What'd you use in your automatic drip coffee maker?
Folgers Flaked coffee.
It tastes great.
Great coffee, Mrs. Olson. Thanks. Nothing's better in these machines than Folgers. It's a coffee recommended by Mr. Coffee, the best-selling coffee maker.
Well, I love Folgers. But what's Folgers Flake coffee?
Flake coffee releases more of Folgers' rich flavor, so you use less. If you normally use 5 measures per pot, you'll only need 4 of Folgers Flaked coffee. And Folgers is mountain grown, the richest, most aromatic kind of coffee.
Tastes rich. Delicious. No wonder Mr. Coffee recommends Folgers.
Folgers Flaked coffee. That's how really good coffee makers make really great coffee.
Mike Liederman with sports, weekends at 5 and 10.
College basketball is being brought to you by Light Beer. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less. By Ford and your Ford dealers, who bring you the better idea cars and trucks for the 80s. And by Texaco, with over 66,000 employees doing their best at their jobs to keep your trust.
We're not just a couple of animals who can only play football. We can be civilized, too.
Tennis is sophisticated, but you still got to be fast on your feet. So we still drink light beer from Miller. It's got 1/3 less calories than the regular beer, and it's less filling.
And it really tastes great.
Now that we played singles, we're looking for a nice, friendly game of doubles.
Tennis, anyone?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Mustang, America's most popular sports car. Sleek, sure-footed, aerodynamic. Mustang! Slice through the wind in a world of high mileage at a price that makes real horse sense. Mustang! Ride with a thoroughbred Ford Mustang. Mustang! A sports car for the 80s.
In 1931, Texaco developed a new gasoline for emergency vehicles called Fire Chief. Not just for fire engines, but family cars, too. In 1941, Texaco helped create a fuel refining process for the national defense.
For tomorrow, Texaco is working on a way of turning America's plentiful coal into clean burning gas. These are some of the ways Texaco is making good use of America's energy resources. Texaco, we're working to keep your trust.
Take this man into custody.
Protecting their source puts the chips behind bars. Ben BJ's got a girlfriend with a gold mine, and they're all in danger.
I'm scared.
Saturday.
Indiana leads Michigan State 35-27 as we get ready to start the second half here in Bloomington. Merle Harmon and Fred Taylor with you. Next week, we go to the Twin Cities for Minnesota and Purdue at 1:30 Eastern Time on NBC. Here's what the game looks like statistically in the first half.
Well, I think the significant thing that's not shown is the fact that Michigan State has gotten 10 fewer shots at the goal than they normally would have in a half.
And the second half is underway and Indiana controls it. 41 is Butch Carter. He'll be on the back line with this man, Isaiah Thomas, number 11. The front line, Steve Bushy, number 54, Landon Turner, 32, and Ray Tolbert, 45. Michigan State's fouls. They didn't have many in the first half. And the scramble for the ball, and the Spartans come out of there with it, and Ron Charles will send it the other way. Charles is 15. The Indiana scoring and fouls. Carter the leader. Bates beating Charles on the drive, and he is fouled by Tolbert, and that's number 4 on Ray Tolbert. So the Hoosiers have a couple of men in trouble, and Tolbert is one of them. The other, Butch Carter, who plays on the back line, has 3 fouls. Tolbert coming over to talk to Coach Bobby Knight. Check that. I believe it's 3 fouls in place of 4, okay? So Charles with 11 points. Wouldn't go. Charles had 11 points in the first half. Judd Heathcote is saying, hey, what's going on? Is time back in? Judd has beaten Bobby Knight 5 out of the 7 meetings. But the Warm may be twining today unless Michigan State can really rally here in the second half. Meanwhile, back at the free throw line, Ron Charles from St. Croix, the Virgin Islands, a 3-year letterman senior, earning his 4th letter this year, misses both free throws, and Bushy pulls off the rebound, clears it out to Isaiah Thomas. Thomas to Carter. So Carter rolls on. It's 12 for him. Mike Berkovich. Indiana on top by 10. They go inside to Charles, to Benson out of the key, and it will go. Tolbert clears it away to Thomas. Indiana putting a little zip into the offense now, trying to beat Michigan State zone back down the floor, but traveling his goal. That's the 9th turnover for Indiana. Berkovich will play on the back line with Donnelly. Vincent posting high. Charles back underneath along with Bates, and that's Bates for the hook shot, and he misses it, and Tolbert clears it out to Butch Carter.
Michigan State still staying in their zone.
Rob Gonzalez is getting ready to come in now for Michigan State. The alley-oop to the other side and back to Carter. On the post to Bushy, and Tolbert hits for the follow, and the shot by Tolbert rejected by Charles and knocked out of bounds. And Rob Gonzalez, number 35, comes in for Michigan State. And going to the bench, number 52, Steve Bates, the sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Bobby Knight in his 9th year at Indiana, 6 years at West Point prior to coming here. He had great teams there, too.
Well, he's just merely 100 wins and 35 losses in the Big Ten.
Charles on the stopper. That's 13 for Charles, and only his 3rd field goal of the game. 37-29 Indiana. Isaiah Thomas almost traveled with the ball. Butch Carter. You know, Fred, we were talking about both teams playing defense, and neither of us were looking for a high-scoring game. We're not getting it. Butch Carter gets the shot up, but he is fouled by Gonzalez. And that's his first.
Michigan State, in playing that zone, I really think Donnelly and Berkovich do as good a job of covering out on top as anybody we've seen. Of course, last year it made it a little easier with Kelzer and Irvin Johnson playing the wings or the deep positions.
Butch Carter is on the line. And Landon Turner's shot partially blocked, but it'll be Indiana's ball. (38-29) Indiana. Bushy wheels it out to Thomas. Here's the block again.
Rebound. It comes down. He just reached in and got it on the way up.
And Michigan State just picked one off. Back to the live action. Berkovich lays it off to Gonzalez. Back to Berkovich. Go inside to Vincent. Tolbert couldn't do anything about that one.
Well, wisely let him go. You know, turnovers really haven't been a factor in this game. It's equal on both sides.
The Indiana lead is back down. Now it's at 7 as Thomas misses from the outside. Bushy got it back to him, and they play catch, and this is Tolbert. Ball deflected, picked up by Carter. Over 17,000 here at Assembly Hall. And Turner goes to the basket and is fouled by Vincent. So Jay Vincent commits his second foul.
Here's the pass down to Landon Turner. Jay Vincent got a piece of him on the way up. Ron Charles actually blocked the shot, but the foul had occurred earlier. One of the things, Merle, that made it a little easier to get that ball down on the baseline was the fact that Steve Bushy was out wider, so that they forced the zone to cover a little bit more on the backside.
Turner with 9. You just saw number 52, Steve Bates, in the game now for Michigan State. Vincent has gone to the bench, and Bates gets the rebound. But a steal by Tolbert. So Tolbert gets a pair, and it's 41-31 Indiana. Halftime score, 35-27, Indiana. Charles hits the baseline, and he is fouled by Landon Turner, and that's his third. Bobby Knight talking about the career that he has had here. You know, he's the only coach to ever play on and then coach an NCAA title team. Of course, he played for you on that big NCAA title team.
Many years ago.
Nah, it wasn't that long. I remembered it. I remembered it. Couldn't have been that long. Yeah, you'll get even with me for that one, won't you? Charles, ball deflected. That was Turner again, and that's Turner on the front end of a feed by Tolbert, and he got it. Thomas, rather. Isaiah Thomas was the man on both ends of that play.
Earl, I've seen that kid down in San Juan almost dribble the ball away from him.
Tolbert on the steal. And
Michigan State's got to get a timeout.
And they just took it as Indiana once again cuts loose to build a 45.
Tolbert deflects the ball, takes it on up the floor, up, and a long one-handed stuff.
So Indiana's up by 45-31.
Instead of spending your dollars for carpenters, plumbers, and electricians, you can start saving them and get a free gift, too. Look for this announcement in your Sunday paper. It tells about Time Life Book's Home Repair and Improvement Series. But what you will know because you're watching now is how to get this $2 Canvas Handyman's Apron free. See this S on the reply card? Just make it into a $sign, and we'll send you your Handyman's Apron as a gift. So look in Sunday's paper, your mail, or national magazines.
If women shaved men's faces, we'd try to shave them a lot closer than men do. Because we know all about skin and Noxzema. Trust me. The closer you shave, the more you need the medicated comfort of Noxzema shave cream. Take it off. And what have you got? Skin smooth enough to get next to mine. Noxzema.
Here's to good friends.
A toast. Here's to a vanishing breed. Bill Evans, bachelor.
End of a perfectly good ladies' man.
To Bill Evans, a free man. 13 more hours.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Low and Brow.
Speech! Speech!
Come on, you guys. You're beautiful.
The Hoosiers are on top, 45-31, 15 and a half minutes to go in the game as Michigan State takes over. For the second time in this game, Indiana has put on a blitz of points to really spread the lead out. Vincent working, shot knocked away by Tolbert. Checked it by Turner. Thought they were both there, but the block goes to Turner.
Here's Vincent's drive. The ball is knocked away by Tolbert.
I guess it was Tolbert on the replay. Charles to Berkovich. Ball deflected by Isaiah Thomas. And look at him put the pressure on Berkovich. Loops it to Vincent. Vincent missing the turnaround. And the foul on Tolbert. And that will be 4 on Tolbert. Four fouls on Turner make it. Well, so the foul was on 32 Turner and not Tolbert. 2 shots for Vincent. Second shot will be in play. Glenn Grunwald, number 40, is coming in, and Landon Turner is going out. Grunwald is a senior from Franklin Park, Illinois, whose career, and they were looking for a great career out of him, as we see Turner going to the bench, has been, well, he's had knee surgery a couple of times. Really been tough for him. Vincent missing both of them. Tolbert rebounding. 45-31 Indiana.
Michigan State's gone man.
And Thomas missing. Then we have a foul call down underneath the bucket. Foul is on Terry Donnelly. That'll be his first. It's a third team foul of the half against Michigan State. Bushi is 54. Thomas is 11. 41 is Butch Carter for Indiana. Over 17,000 here today. That's Colbert in the key being double teamed. He got out of there with a shot anyway, and Vincent rips it out of there. Berkovich to Donnelly down the right side. Cross court to Rob Gonzalez. And they work to Charles, who forced the shot. Grunwald clears it away. Indiana gets 3 men, or rather Michigan State gets 3 men back on defense in a hurry. Colbert. Indiana faced a zone defense for the entire first half and for the first 5.5 minutes of this one. Michigan State is switched off to a man as Carter hits out of the corner. That's 15 for Carter. 47-31 Indiana. Berkovich to Donnelly. Ball deflected, but Donnelly has a shot. Bushi almost had the rebound, and finally Berkovich comes out of there with it. Cross courts it to Donnelly, and there's Carter looking him right in the face. Back underneath to Charles. Charles gets the layup. 15 for Charles. 47-33 Indiana with 13 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the first half. Whistle stopping play. Donnelly reached around with a foul. That'll be his second. Berkovich goes to the bench. Kevin Smith is in now. Number 5. How about this one for an upset? North Carolina State 64, 10th ranked Virginia 56, the final. Rob Gonzalez just fouled Bushi. And that's his second foul.
Inbounds pass from Grunwald into the corner. Gonzalez just comes up over the back of Bushi and fouls him.
And that's 5 team fouls against Michigan State. Isaiah Thomas, he is some operator. He's only 6'1", but did you see him get up there?
He gets up with control, too.
49-33, Indiana. Michigan State is yet to win of the Big Ten. Gonzalez from the outside. That's only the 4th field goal, the 8th point of the half now for Michigan State. Indiana's first 3 Big Ten games were decided by a total of 5 points, 1 each in losses to Ohio State and Wisconsin, and 2 in the overtime victory over Michigan. Isaiah Thomas again, 13 points for the freshman from Chicago.
Well, when things start going right, they go right. The shot was tipped.
Shot rejected by Bushi. That clears Thomas. That's 3 in a row for Thomas. 8 in the half and 15 in the game for Isaiah Thomas. And it's 53-35 Indiana.
That's a foul by Glenn Grunwald.
So Grunwald fouls. We've got 12:21 to go in the game. Grunwald goes to the bench. No, Grunwald stays in the ball game. He does not go to the bench. Gonzalez to Vincent. Vincent inside there. 3 men around him. The basket is good.
There's a pass into Vincent. Looks back. Still keeps control. Then looks back over his right shoulder. Now, he had 3 people around him, as you say, Merle, but he went up with good strength, 2 hands on the ball, and has an opportunity to make a 3-point play out of it.
Ray Tolbert gets a standing ovation as he comes out. Vincent will be on the free throw line. Tolbert now carrying 4 fouls, goes to the bench, and he is replaced by Steve Risley, number 34, a junior from Indianapolis, out of Lawrence Central High School. Vincent's good on the free throw, and he's got a 3-point play out of it. It's 53-38 Indiana with a little more than 12 minutes to play in Bloomington. Next week, Fred and I will be in the Twin Cities. Carter couldn't handle it. Minnesota will take on Purdue, and that should be a good one at 1:30 Eastern Time here on NBC in association with PBS. Gonzalez bumped from behind, no harm, no foul. Bostic 44 now in the game for Michigan State. That's Isaiah Thomas coming down the right lane. Look at the move by Thomas. Little action there as Thomas stole the ball. A little physical action, under the backboard that time. Bushi jumping, shooting from the outside off the rim, and Gonzalez pulls it down for the Spartans.
He hurried that shot a little bit, Merle. He didn't get any rhythm on it.
Charles jump shot outside, and Isaiah Thomas up for the rebound, knocked out of bounds by Gonzalez.
Thank you very much.
We've got a timeout with 11:08 to play in the game. Indiana 53, Michigan State 38.
Join me for a special occasion, the introduction of the ultimate LTD, the elegant new LTD Crown Victoria. The elegance surrounds you, and so does the quiet. You ride as quietly as in a Rolls Royce. Mileage? With automatic overdrive option, no competitor's full-size V8 surpasses LTD Crown Victoria's gas mileage ratings. The ultimate LTD, the elegance, quiet, and mileage that'll make you proud to say, mine's the Crown Victoria.
Mr. Green?
Yeah.
You need any help? Want my Coke?
No.
Really, you can have it.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's the way it should be. I like to say, the whole world smiling with me. Coca-Cola as life. Have a Coke and a
Wow, thanks, Mean Joe.
See the explosive Syracuse Orangemen, led by Roosevelt Bowie, face 7'1" scoring machine Joe Barry Carroll and the powerhouse Purdue Boilermakers on the Game of the Week tomorrow.
And you'll see Purdue again next Saturday afternoon at Minnesota, 1:30 Eastern Time, right here on NBC. Dr. Otis R. Bowen, the governor of Indiana, is here today. He's a great Hoosier fan. I believe I saw Dr. Jim Mason, too, the retired team physician of Ohio State, here this afternoon.
I kind of doubt that, Merle. He's going to be 50, and I don't think he can get that far out of town.
Oh, really? Butch Carter handling the ball. I thought I saw him here earlier. Maybe not. Risley in the lane in traffic, puts that ball up, but it won't go down for him. And as Grunwald comes up with the rebound, Risley is hit with a foul. And that'll be his first. 6 against Indiana. Michigan State has 5 team fouls. Gonzalez, Charles, Boston, Vincent. He's got it. Jay Vincent, who is averaging better than 20 points a game, has 15 in this one. 10:23 to go. Indiana up by 13. Six minutes left. Minnesota leads Illinois 61-55. Benson. Mike Longacre is now in for Michigan State, number 23. Longacre is an academic All-American, almost a Rhodes Scholar. That's Gonzalez, top of the horn, as Michigan State starts coming back. 53-42.
Michigan State has really been working to post Vincent in low and make Indiana play defense on him, and in so doing, they've opened up some other things.
40. Grunwald. Steve Risley. He started several games this year for Indiana and started some last year. Bushi, the freshman, number 54. Risley got loose and hits the layup. Good play.
Good sneak cut by Steve Risley.
Isaiah Thomas says, "Who me?" Officials say, "Yes, you." That's the third foul now against Isaiah and the 7th foul against Indiana. Risley comes to the bench along with Grunwald. Ray Tolbert with 4 fouls is back in now for Indiana. And Phil Eisenbarger, 44, is also in for the Hoosiers. On the free throw line, Mike Longacre out of Warren, Michigan. Bushi clears the board. Butch Carter is 41. He'll play the back line with Isaiah Thomas, number 11. Eisenbarger down the left side to Butch Carter. Off the baseline, he finds Thomas. He really wanted to go all the way. As Thomas throws that ball into traffic, and Bushi is able to control it and save it. Now a blocking foul is called on Steve Bushi, number 54. That's his fourth. Bobby Knight will go to his bench again. This time he'll bring Risley back, number 34, and Bushi will go to the bench.
I think Coach Knight's contention there was that he thought Bushi had been hammered before, and nothing was called.
Rob Gonzalez hits a free throw. The lack of field goals really hurt Michigan State. They opened 0 for 8 from the field. That was at the start of the game. Gonzalez has a pair. That's 6 in this half. 8 in the game for Rob. 55-44, Indiana by 11. 8 minutes, 35 seconds left to play. Michigan State switched to a zone about 5 minutes ago. I mean, I beg your pardon, man-to-man out of the zone. They stayed in the zone throughout the first half. Then 5 minutes ago went man-to-man. Indiana content to work the ball. The foul is called on Ron Charles. That's his first foul and the 6th team foul against Michigan State. And we have a timeout in Bloomington, Indiana, with exactly 8 minutes left to play in the first half. Indiana is leading by 11. We'll be right back.
When a man wears Old Spice, chances are he'll always get a warm reception. No wonder. The clean, fresh, masculine fragrance of Old Spice is a scent that women know and love. So when you're wearing Old Spice, the invitation is clear. It can really spice up your life.
Put a little spice in your life with Old Spice.
There are 2,000 twisting, turning miles on this river, and you know them all. But the one you know best ends with Miller time.
When it's time to relax.
Time for the best tasting beer you can find.
What feels that clear?
America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
We got to get one.
I'm going to say Miller beer.
The Big Ten Conference is proud of its past success in the sport of wrestling. The University of Iowa is the defending NCAA champion and is currently ranked #1 in the nation again this year, while Wisconsin is 6th and Minnesota 9th in the latest wrestling rankings. The preceding message was furnished by TBS on behalf of the Big Ten Conference. Indiana 55, Michigan State 44. The inbound pass comes to Isaiah Thomas, and he couldn't quite handle it. Michigan State will bring it down. Terry Donnelly into the front court. Thomas staying with him in that matchup. And Bostic charged with an offensive foul. Dipped the shoulder, made his drive, and Bostic is hit with his first foul of the game. That's the 7th foul now against Michigan State.
Earl, I was just going to say, when he committed that foul, now's the time. If Michigan State's going to get back in the game, they better do it. Because the clock is in Indiana's favor, and they like to play this kind of a game.
Risley. Butch Carter out of the key, and is rebounded by Charles, and Bobby Knight did not like that kind of a shot. He really forced it.
Carter's done a good job so far with his shot selection, but he hurried that one off balance, wasn't squared up.
Jay Vincent, and it's ripped out of there by Eisenbarger. Out of the Eisenbarger athletic family. Foul at the other end. As Kevin Smith reports in now for Michigan State. Foul was on number 44, Herb Bostic. That'll be his second. Kevin Smith is in now. Bostic is out. And on the free throw line, Butch Carter. 15 points for Carter. Kevin Smith in there to get the rebound. Little guy went up there and got it, didn't he? Donnelly. 7 minutes left to play in the game. Indiana's leading by 11. Gonzalez takes the shot. He's got it. Over the top of Eisenbarger. Indiana's lead is down to 9. Colbert, who's carrying 4 fouls, has to be very careful. Vincent takes him. Eisenbarger at the top. 6.5 minutes left in the game now. And Eisenbarger on the turnaround. It's tipped out of there by Vincent, but saved by Risley, and Indiana controls. That was a big, big rebound as Judd Heathcote knew it, too. And we've got a foul call against Michigan State. And the foul is logged. On number 52, Bates. Can't be, he's not in the game. They get the wrong numbers up. Foul was on Smith, number 5. 55-46 now. Vincent gets 2 back. And Michigan State hangs right in there. 5 minutes, 57 seconds left. There's the score. Indiana ahead, 55-48. Isaiah Thomas double team. Clears it across to Risman. Tolbert at the top. Eisenbarger, 5:40 to go in the game. Thomas back underneath the Tolbert, and it won't go down for him. It's cleared away by Vincent. This will be a big possession now for Michigan State. Gonzalez down the baseline, double team, out to Vincent. Vincent takes the shot. He's got it. And Bobby Knight is up off the bench. As now the lead has been cut to 5. 5 minutes, 15 seconds left in the game. And Indiana takes a timeout. 5:13 to go, and Indiana's lead is down to 5. Don't go away. We might have some finish.
Our corporation had to have an insurance company that pays medical claims promptly, fairly, and courteously. Connecticut General really came through for us.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Dental claim forms are a lot easier to fill out when they're in my language instead of insurance ease. And that's how Connecticut General comes through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Call us. We'll come through for you, too.
Motorcraft plugs and a tune-up done right would have solved the problem I had one night. I came home late with my car running rough, made a bang and a whistle and a wheeze and a puff. Woke up my kids and my lazy old dog. Woke up my wife who sleeps like a log. I was really up a creek without a raft. I need some help from Motorcraft. Got a tune-up and plugs with the Motorcraft name. My car ran smoother and my family got sane. And now when it's late and I drive to the door, life's a lot sweeter, for sure. Motorcraft, for sure.
See exciting fourth-round coverage as golf's top pros, including defending champ John Mahaffey, try to take home the title of the prestigious Bob Hope Desert Classic. Coming up next.
5 minutes, 13 seconds remaining in the game. Indiana 55 and Michigan State 50. And you've really got to admire the way the Spartans are hanging in there, Fred.
They've really come back, and it's been Jay Vincent largely on offense. He's hit the last 4 baskets. And the other end of the floor, Indiana has not had good shots. The only good shot they had was Ray Tolbert's lay-in that he missed.
With 1 minute left, Minnesota leads Illinois by that much. Another close one, and we've really had a lot of close ones in the Big Ten and so forth. 3-point lead for Minnesota over Illinois with a minute to go. Bushy. Bushy has averaged 7.5 points a game. He's been held down to 3 in this one. Now he's got 4. And Indiana's on top by 7. Kevin Smith front courts it from the top of the key. He got that 2 back in a hurry. It's his first field goal. 57-52 Indiana. 4 minutes, 45 seconds remaining. Bushy. Eisenbarger. Isaiah Thomas. Bushy. A steal. They tried to get that ball into Butch Carter. Thomas lays it off to Vincent. There's traveling. As Michigan State blows a real opportunity on that one. (57-52) Indiana. 4 minutes, 20 seconds left. And we've got a blocking foul called against Indiana. That's the first on Eisenbarger. 57-52. Down to the other end is Kevin Smith for a 1-and-1. You know, Fred, you look at these two teams, and I guess you kind of dream what this game would be like if Magic Johnson were still with Michigan State and if Mike Woodson were with Indiana.
Well, you know, you can only play with what you have, and when you're 0-3, Judd Heathcote has to get a supreme effort out of each one of his players, and by the same token, Coach Knight has to get everything from his bench.
Kevin Smith has scored the last 4 points now for Michigan State. 57-54. Isaiah Thomas tries for a big one. The field goal is good. And a charging foul is called against Thomas. That's 4 on Isaiah.
Here's the drive. Right on in. He's taking the game into his hands because it's been a while since they got anything going. The basket counts. The foul occurs after the shot, and it's a 1-1.
And Bobby Knight looks at the clock with 4:07 and says, we've got a long way to go, and I've got some guys in foul trouble. 1-1 for Kevin Smith. He just hit a pair up there. He's 3 in a row now, and he has scored the last 5 points for Michigan State. 4:07 remaining, 59-55. Thomas has scored. Carter is in foul trouble. Bushi has scored. Turner and Colbert have 4. Carter has 3. Thomas has 4. The Indiana lead is down to 3 again.
Kind of interesting to see Eisenberger and Ron Charles out on top. Both of them happen to be 6 feet 8 inches tall. That's a long ways away from the basket.
That's Eisenberger, 44. Colbert. Isaiah Thomas hawked by Terry Donnelly. Clock showing 3.5 minutes to go now. Indiana leading by 3. Bushi. Poston. Colbert. Carter. Ball knocked away by Kevin Smith and out of bounds. It'll stay with Indiana. 3:18 to play in the game. Indiana won an overtime battle here Thursday night from Michigan. Michigan State.
Michigan State has the momentum going for them right now, even though they're on defense.
Foul called on Donnelly. That's his 3rd.
Here's just a reach-in foul. Isaiah Thomas with the ball. Terry Donnelly bumped him.
Thomas was 17 points. His average is 13. Colbert trying to pull it out and does. Indiana has it.
And Isaiah Thomas was the one who saved it.
He has done everything today. 2 minutes, 48 seconds remaining. Eisenberger. And a blocking foul against Michigan State. Eisenberger was going to hit that lane, and Charles is right there, and he's logged with a foul. So Phil Eisenberger goes to the free throw line. He's from Muncie, a junior at 6'8", 70% free throw shooter. That's his first attempt today. The halftime score, Indiana 35 and Michigan State 27. Indiana looked like the Hoosiers are going to blow Michigan State off the floor in the second half, but the Spartans have hung right in there. Now Indiana up 61-56, 2 minutes, 40 seconds left to play.
Big possession here.
Minnesota beat Illinois 79-75. Rob Gonzalez from the outside.
Merle, each time Rob Gonzalez has taken a shot without putting it on the deck, he's made it. That's 4 for 4 in the second half.
61-58. Michigan State has crawled within 3 again. 2 minutes, 19 seconds remaining. Bushi. Charles took it away. Donnelly is fouled by Isaiah Thomas, and that will be number 5. So Michigan State will go to the free throw line, and Thomas will go to the bench with 5 fouls. He has been outstanding today. Isaiah Thomas, a freshman from Chicago, out of St. Joseph's High School, one of the most sought-after high school ball players in America this past year, will be replaced by number 23, Chuck Franz from Clarksville, Indiana, a freshman.
This is the first Big Ten game he's ever been in, too. The little he played in the first half and now he's going to be required to handle the ball.
Donnelly for a 1-and-1. Michigan State is within 2 of Indiana. 2 minutes, 7 seconds remaining. Donnelly with his first point of the second half, and he has 5 for the game. A 1-point lead for Indiana. 2:05 to play. 17,000 Hoosier fans. And about 500 Michigan Staters were able to get in here. A sellout crowd. A minute 50 to go. Indiana with a 1-point lead. Eisenbarger, who is 6'8", handling the ball to the outside. Tolbert is up there. A steal by Kevin Smith, but he can't save it. And he takes Judd Heathcote, almost Judd Heathcote, right off of the bench. Ooh. He goes flying through the air. He just missed his coach.
Great effort. He deflects the ball, then goes after. Good effort. And he just takes a flying leap right across the Michigan State bench.
Everybody is okay.
Go ahead and tell me they worry about being 0-3.
Butch Carter takes it across. A minute and a half to go. 1-point lead for Indiana. Eisenbarger handles the ball to the top. Kevin Smith fouls Butch Carter. So Carter will go to the free throw line for some big ones. That's a second foul on Kevin Smith.
Here, Smith reaches in and whacks him right there. He didn't think he got him. The official was a little closer than that. He said yes. Big free throw.
A 2-point lead now for Indiana. A minute 26 seconds to play. 16 points for Carter. 17. Michigan State down by 3 with the ball. A minute 26 seconds left. Eisenbarger is out of there. Landon Turner is back in for Indiana. Kevin Smith, he's got it. They're back to within 1. 63-62, a minute 14 seconds left to play. Franz handling the ball. Ball tipped by Smith. Grabbed by Carter. Cross court to Tolbert. Tolbert shakes Benson. Goes down to Bushi. Back to Butch Carter. 1 minute left to play in the game. Indiana with a 1-point lead. The Hoosiers take a timeout. A timeout now. 57 seconds left to play in this game. Indiana 63 and Michigan State 62. And what a comeback by Michigan State.
Hey,
We'll be back in a moment.
Weekends were made for Michelob. Weekends were...
Hi, I'm Janet Guthrie. If you're like me, you want engine protection up front. And you want fuel economy back here. That's why you need Texaco's Haviland Supreme Motor Oil. In over 1 million miles of state trooper testing, it delivered proven engine protection. In fuel economy tests, it delivered unbeaten mileage. Trooper tested protection up front, backed by unbeaten mileage. That's Texaco's Haviland Supreme.
It's a new season for Sports World, and the matchless Meadowlark Lemon debuts with his new team, the Buccaneers, starring Marcus Haynes and Will Chamberlain, tomorrow on Sports World.
Okay, Merv is me, Leo is Leo.
That's all right, Marv.
Okay, Floyd. I'll explain that in a moment. Lee Corso, the head coach of Indiana, is here today. We've tabbed him Leo, and he's tabbed me Merv. We're down to 52 seconds. Indiana has the ball. A 1-point lead. And a foul on Jay Benson. He fouls Tolbert. Benson's third foul. Tolbert for a 1-and-1. 48 seconds will remain. No, we did the Holiday Bowl football game out in San Diego, and we're kidding around about Leo and Lee and so forth, and I happened to call him Leo a couple of times on the air. They welcomed him home with big banners here at Indiana. Welcome home, Leo. So from now on, Lee, I guess you're Leo and I'm Lee. Tolbert, 11 in the game. 15 in the game. Beg your pardon, we lost some somewhere here. Landon Turner comes in, and Eisenbarger goes out for Indiana. Big free throws now, all the way. 3-point lead, Indiana, 45 seconds left. Kevin Smith almost lost the ball. Donnelly, they need a shot. 38 seconds left. Look at that Indiana defense now. Donnelly hits the lane, forces the shot. It is tipped in, but it won't be a basket. Offensive goaltending. Offensive goaltending on Ron Charles. Michigan State will not get the basket. Michigan State will call a timeout with 30 seconds to go in the game.
All right, here's Donnelly's drive. He goes up. The ball is up on the rim. There, right there. Charles goes up and tips it in. Basket interference. Offense. Good call.
And so the Spartans huddle with 30 seconds to go, down by 3. The Bob Hope Classic coming up shortly here on NBC. Live third round coverage from Palm Springs, California. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank some fine people here at Indiana University for all their assistance with today's game. Athletic Director Ralph Floyd and his staff, Head Coach Bob Knight and his staff, along with Sports Information Director Tom Miller, his assistant Kit Klingelhofer, and N. Bastinelli. Also like to thank Michigan State's Athletic Director Dr. Joe Carney, Head Basketball Coach Judd Heathcote and his staff, and Sports Information Director Fred Stabley and his assistant Nick Vista. Our statistician today is Mike Pfeiffer, Neil White, and Billy Holmes, son of our top-notch director Jimmy Holmes, has been working with us. Producer for today's contest and all the Big Ten games, Scott Kane, with Chuck Frankel serving as our stage manager, and our conference coordinator is Jeff Elliott. 65-62 Indiana. Purdue and Minnesota next week, 1:30 Eastern Time right here on NBC. On the inbounds, Butch Cutter. And he is fouled. That's the 4th foul on Kevin Smith. And on the free throw line is Butch Carter. 29 seconds remaining in the game. Butch with 17 points. 18. Landon Turner, 32, back in. Phil Eisenbarger going out for Indiana.
Defensive substitution.
Indiana with a 4-point lead. The lead had been down to 1 as the Spartans really battled back in the second half. 67-62 Hoosiers, 28 seconds left. Jay Vincent. Tipped in by Ron Charles. 18 seconds left. A 3-point lead for Indiana and a foul on Kevin White. Or timeout. Timeout, Michigan State. White came flying through the air and calling timeout. 16 seconds remaining. Indiana on top by 3. What do you do? Fred Taylor, you've been in a situation like this, I'm sure, as a coach of the Buckeyes. You got 16 seconds left to play. You're down by 3. What can you do?
Well, if you're talking about defensively speaking, you have to put a lot of pressure on, but you also have to be, I'm talking in terms of Michigan State now, they have to be aware of the fact that there could be some kind of a play that would enable Indiana to throw the ball long. But Indiana's going to do something to ensure inbounds possession. But you have to play the ball and probably play off of the passer and double team the closest man to the ball.
Michigan State has no timeouts remaining. Don't forget, it'll be Syracuse, the Orangemen, tomorrow against Purdue, the Boilermakers. 1 o'clock Eastern Time here on NBC. And then next Saturday afternoon at 1:30 Eastern Time, the Purdue Boilermakers will take on Jim Dutcher's Minnesota Golden Gophers, who beat Illinois just a few minutes ago. And the Golden Gophers will be heard from this season. Indiana with a 3-point lead and 16 seconds left to play.
Merle, Indiana's done what they needed to do. The last 8 free throws they've made, and you must add to the score with the clock stop.
That's the time. That's the score. And Indiana has the ball, and Eisenberger will handle it. Bushy. Gonzalez comes after him. 14 seconds remaining. And Donnelly fouls. So Donnelly commits his 4th foul. The clock is stopped with 12 seconds left to play. On the free throw line will be Phil Eisenberger with 12 seconds remaining. Indiana led at the half, 35-27. And it looked like the Hoosiers would run away with the game midway through the second half. But those Spartans kept battling and battling and battling, got the lead down to 1. Eisenberger moves it up to 4. He's 3 straight from the free throw line in the second half. 68-64 the score is. Bushy came up with a big rebound, was fouled by Gonzalez. That's his 4th. 11 seconds to go. Steve Bushy, the freshman, Mr. Basketball of Indiana a year ago at Washington High School, will be on the free throw line. He averaged almost 27 points a game as a senior last year. Now it's Indiana hitting the free throws here in the second half, as Michigan State did in the first half. 69-64 Indiana. 11 seconds to play. Now they're up by 6. 70-64. 10 seconds to go. Kevin Smith lets it fly, and it missed by Vincent. Eisenberger comes up with it. He is fouled by Charles. That's his 4th. And we'll go back to the free throw line with 4 seconds left to play for a 1-and-1. Don't forget, tomorrow it'll be Purdue against Syracuse on NBC starting at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Next Saturday, Minnesota will entertain the Purdue Boilermakers. Lee Rose has those Boilermakers going again. That'll be a tremendous ball game. That one next Saturday, 1:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 Central, of course. Eisenberger for a 1-and-1. (71-64) Indiana. 4 seconds remaining. 72-64 Indiana. The Hoosiers winning their 2nd game in a row. They won an OT game against Michigan Thursday night. That's Rob Gonzalez missing at the bell. And the final score is Indiana 72 and Michigan State 64. So Michigan State is still winless in the Big Ten, while Indiana goes 2-2. Indiana is now 9-4 for the year, and Michigan State is 66-7 at 0-4 in the Big Ten. So that's the final. Michigan State losing to Indiana 72-64. Merle Herman with Fred Taylor saying so long from Bloomington, Indiana. Now stay tuned for the Bob Hope Desert Golf Classic next on NBC.
Joe Don Baker and Karen Black in Power, a world premiere Monday.
Made for special friends. It's the time to have that smooth